comrade. Krauser.
One thing that I did not really like about the original Resident Evil 4 was how the island segment always felt really rushed. And that's extremely apparent when it comes to Jack Krauser. In the original Resident Evil 4, Krauser doesn't really have much of a role until about halfway through the island segment, where he engages in a knife fight with Leon. Now we do get to see him before that in a few cutscenes, where he's talking to Sadler in one cutscene, and then in another he's talking with Ada. So we do get to actually see him before the knife fight, but it's during the knife fight that we actually have this character revealed to Leon, and that's when his role really starts to come about. And in that knife fight, we do get a few cool things. We get to learn that obviously Leon and Krauser had some sort of past partnership. Unfortunately, the original RE4 doesn't really go into detail with it. We won't really know what kind of partnership they had until Darkside Chronicles releases, and we see they were together in the Operation Javier mission. But in Resident Evil 4, they just sort of hint that they were partners, and that's all we get. The other thing that we learn in that knife fight is that it was Krauser who kidnapped Ashley. And that was a huge reveal because you were kind of wondering up to that point who actually even got Ashley in the first place, because there's no way a basic Ganado could do it, nor could you really see Sadler doing it himself. So it really did answer that question as to who kidnapped Ashley, and it made perfect sense. Krauser would have the know-how and the skill to be able to pull it off, so having Krauser do it made perfect sense. After that though, the next time we would see Krauser wouldn't take much longer, and it would be his final fight, where we'd have to get the 3 insignias from him, and then once we did that, the area would blow up because he planted those bombs, and his role was pretty much over for the main game. It was done. And I always thought that was so unfortunate because he was partners with Leon at one point, and you can even examine his body after you defeat him, and Leon will say something along the lines of, "You used to be good, Krauser, what happened?" And that's all you get. You get nothing else with the character. And this guy is essentially the equivalent of what Wesker is to Chris. You know, somebody who Chris once worked with STARS. This is somebody Leon once worked with within the US government. So it was very unfortunate that they just kind of breezed past him. He only has 2 interactions with Leon before he's finished off. We do get to see him again in separate ways, where after failing to defeat Leon, he attempts to kill Ada. But this also backfires because he ends up getting defeated again. And I always hated how when you're fighting him on the rooftops and you defeat him, he has the same exact death animation that he had in the main game, where the side of his chest just spurs out blood and then he just kind of falls to the ground. I was kind of hoping they'd have something a little more concrete where we're like, okay, he's definitely dead this time, but they just recycled the same animation. But that's all we get with Krauser. I'm hoping with this reimagining that they actually do a lot more with his character. And there's already been reports that would suggest that that is in fact going to be the case, because there are reports that early on in the game, where there's those flashbacks in the White House, Krauser is in those flashbacks, and we actually get to see him when he was still on the good side. I think that's pretty cool because that's going to help the player connect with Leon's relationship with Krauser, whereas in the original, we didn't know who Krauser was. He just sort of showed up, and only Leon knew who this character was, and we were sort of left in the dark as players. So I think that's a really good thing if that's what they're doing, giving us that sort of filler of who Krauser is and building it up. The other thing I'm hoping though is that he has a bigger role as a villain in this game. Like I said, in the original, he only showed up for 2 segments with Leon, the knife fight and the final fight. And that's all he got. They didn't really flesh out his character or anything. He was really rushed. I'm hoping in this game he shows up a little earlier. Maybe even have him show up during the castle portion of the game, towards the end of it, where he ends up taking Ashley and escaping to the island, but Leon can't get to them because he has to deal with Salazar first. And then what they could do is after you beat Salazar, you have the boat ride with Ada to the island. During that moment, you could have it where Leon talks to Ada about his past partnership with Krauser in even more detail, similar to how Chris in Resident Evil 5 was describing his last mission with Jill, where they faced off against Wesker when they were on a boat of some sort. So I think that would be kind of cool to see also, is to give that moment headed over to the island a little more dialogue, because in the original, Leon never says anything to Ada. He waits until they get to the island to even attempt to say something, to which Ada then jerks the boat over and then she grapples off to the island, and that's that. So I think that would be a good moment too if they wanted to add some more backstory from Leon's perspective right there. Just another little idea. Then it would give you the entire island portion to flesh out his character as a villain, showcase him more, and have more interactions between him and Leon. Because that's ultimately what I want. I want more interactions between Leon and Krauser. These two were once partners. They shouldn't just have a knife fight and then we go straight to the boss fight within like 20 minutes later. Like, let's really build up Krauser and have him be a very prominent character. And it's a balancing act, because you can't have Krauser outshine Sadler. Sadler, at the end of the day, is still the main guy. He is the ultimate villain in this game. So Krauser obviously can't outshine Sadler and take the spotlight. But they do need to find a way to balance it to where Krauser does have a little bit more time to shine than he did in the original. Because in the original, it was just very unfortunate how they just quickly went by him, and he was gone before we even really got to know him. Luckily, we did get the Dark Side Chronicles later on to give us a little bit more of Krauser, but with this reimagining, I think there's just so much potential. For example, they could even do this. When you get to either the castle or the island and the communication line has been jacked, have Krauser every once in a while communicate with Leon rather than just Salazar or Sadler. Have Krauser do it, because I'm pretty sure he's the one who jacks the line anyway, so he should be communicating with Leon every once in a while as well. So it doesn't even have to be physical interactions. They could be talking to each other on the communication line. So there's so many ways that they could go about doing this. I just want to see more Krauser and Leon interactions throughout the game. But that's my thoughts on it. I shall go ahead and end this video here, and I shall see you all on the next one. See you then.